Tahu, the fire spirit, is the oldest of the Toa, according to the legend.
Hey there, welcome back to the channel. It's exactly 1 year ago that this amazing product was launched, and we will use this opportunity to relaunch the channel, and we'll call it the Quest for Future Creativity. And it will be a dedicated LEGO Bionicle channel. And how do you celebrate that? It's actually by showing you something you've never seen, and it's actually the most original piece of Bionicle content there is. Because when we had the meeting with the dot bricks here, going through all the files, I found the old style guide. And inside the style guide, on page 2, behind the paper, I discovered a CD that I thought was lost. This one. And it contains the original selling in video that we made before anything was decided. It was a pile full of concepts that we tried to put into line and narrate so you could get a good story feeling. And this became a video that was sent out, and it made all the difference because everybody suddenly understood that this was a story universe like nobody had ever seen before. So let's look at it and go back to 1999 when Bionicle was nothing but a sketch in a style guide. Let's see it.
Bionicle, a story of the future past, told by LEGO. Imagine an endless ocean of blue water and a strange-looking canister drifting around. That's the start of the Bionicle story. The canister, which seems to have been lying in the water for quite some time, gets washed ashore. The waves gently move the canister around until it settles on the beach. After a while, the lid glides open and out roll all kinds of different technical parts, not all that easy to identify. The canister has drifted ashore on an island you've never heard of, in a world you don't know, in a time you've never experienced. But wherever it is, it bears a striking resemblance to the South Sea Islands. And if you look around the island, you'll see canyons, deserts, caves, gorges, lakes, and craggy mountains with a volcano towering above it all. On the island, you'll also find the following 6 heroes, each with its own legend. In the legends, they are called the Toa. The first of the Toa is Anua, the earth spirit. The legend tells that he watches over the land. He's responsible for earthquakes, landslides, and other natural phenomena, which he inflicts at will when he's displeased with the way in which his domain is cared for. He's at home both above and below the ground. With his huge hands, he scrapes out tunnels in the rocky cliffs. He can move quickly in tunnels, and his infrared eyes give him amazing night vision. In daylight, his eyesight is poor, although he compensates for this with amazingly powerful hearing. He's slower above ground than below it, but he has incredible strength and surprising dexterity. The second of the Toa is Liwa, the air spirit. Legend has it that he controls the wind and the clouds. Liwa prefers to inhabit the treetops of the jungle. With his powerful arms, he can cut through vegetation and is supremely competent when it comes to aerial activities. He even glides through the air, jumping from one tree to another. He hates water, which is a problem when he comes down to the ground, as much of his beloved rainforest grows on swampy land. His instincts are good, and his hunches often turn out to be right. And if there's a fight, He will always be the first to get involved, protecting others before himself. Tahu, the fire spirit, is the oldest of the Toa, according to the legend, and he's looked upon as the provider of fire. Tahu is most at home in the hot molten world of the volcano, where he uses his incredible balance to surf on lava flows and his sword of flames to cut through rocks and keep the lava moving down towards the ocean. As you can imagine, he's often hot-headed and irrational with a flaming temper, but he's also fiercely loyal, and while he argues constantly with the others, there's nothing he wouldn't do for them when they are threatened. Gali is the water spirit and the only female Toa. She has a benevolent attitude to all living beings, even droids. This doesn't mean that she can't get angry, she certainly can, but it takes a lot to anger her. The legend goes that as long as the waters are treated well, she will, in turn, treat life well. But if her waters are polluted, then she will take her revenge. She is the most agile and gymnastic of the 6 Toas. With her small body and long legs, she is swift of foot and has the most amazing jumping abilities. She is also an expert in her own brand of Kung Fu-style martial arts. The only thing that slows her down is excessively hot and dry conditions. Kopaka is the spirit of ice. As you would expect of an ice spirit, he's cool and calculating and coldly methodical in his actions. He uses his long ice blade to cut and melt his way through the ice, both for shelter and for making traps for his enemies. He knows the ways of the ice and snow, and with one skillful swipe of his blade, he can conjure up avalanches or instantly freeze anything his blade touches. Of all the Toas, Kopaka is the least communicative and a bit mistrustful. He will only join forces with the others if it's absolutely necessary, especially for himself. Pohatu is a stone spirit. He's slow, but basically friendly, and you can always depend on him. He's not good at snap decisions, but when he decides on a course of action, he sticks with it till the very end. Pohatu prefers the lower slopes, moving slowly but sure-footedly among the rocks and boulders at the base of the great mountain. He can, sometimes literally, move mountains and cause massive rocks to explode like a bomb or roll with great precision towards any attacker. He will always be there behind you, an immovable force that few enemies can dislodge. His only fear is water. He can't swim. When the 6 Toas are first born from their pods, they have but few abilities, but as they collect more of the Kanohi, the masks of knowledge, they grow in wisdom, strength, and power, until finally they realize the full potential of their legendary status. The canister you saw in the beginning of our story contains not only LEGO Technic parts. The kids will also find a mini CD-ROM with the most inspiring parts of the story and building instructions in 3D. And yes, there will of course be printed building instructions for the model too. It almost goes without saying that a story like Bionicle should come as a computer game and as a Sony PlayStation game, and of course it does. It will be a game that introduces a lot more inhabitants on the island and creatures which the Toas have to fight in order to prove their legendary status. Some of these creatures will also hit the toy shelves as LEGO Technic models. So what you see is only the dawn. As the sun rises high above the island in the years to come, many more new models and games will see the light of day. A lot of our story develops and takes place on the internet. Our campaign will actually start here, even before the models reach the shops. Which means that teasing plays a big part in the introduction, not only on the internet, but also in other media like TV, radio, and posters. It's a new angle for LEGO Technic to introduce new models with a story as the engine for both the products and the marketing. But by supplying boys with new, high imaginative fuel, we believe that we will also break new ground and achieve new, higher goals.